From the bankers with their multi-million-dollar bonuses, to the companies constructing substandard buildings, to the loggers destroying our remaining rainforests, to the fashion labels imposing more and more stringent demands on their suppliers, so that women and men, but mostly women, are forced to work long hours in poor conditions for miserable wages, and the collapse of that factory complex in Bangladesh last month, with the tragic deaths of more than 1,000 people working mostly in the garment industry, sort of says it all to us, doesn't it? Does this help explain support for fair trade? In a world in which ordinary people everywhere feel powerless to change anything, and even democratic processes seem to achieve little, is it fair trade that offers a beacon of hope to people? I think it may be. People I speak to, both adults and children, grasp the basic concepts of fair trade very quickly. It's about equity and fairness, about giving everyone a fair deal, about sustainable development. When you don't know what to do to make a difference in the world, fair trade offers an opportunity to every one of us to make the fair choice in our shopping, whether it's buying fair trade coffee or tea, or deliberately looking for a fair trade hand-knitted sweater, or volunteering to work in a fair trade shop. Under the umbrella of fair trade, so many incredible individuals, many of whom I see here today in this room, have devoted their lives to the creation of social enterprises, providing fair work in good conditions, at fair wages, to poor men and women with few opportunities to work their way out of poverty. I applaud you all, as I applaud those of you who have focused on developing cooperatives of smallholder farmers and helping them collectively to improve their practices and the quality of their products and to find their way to market. Today, many of you are battling with the consequences of climate change. In Ghana last week, I was talking to a woman farmer, and she was saying to me, this year I'm only able to sell 5 sacks of cocoa beans because the rain keeps coming when we don't expect it, and the sunshine has become too hot. And maybe we need to strengthen our environmental standard as we talk this week about the Fair Trade Guarantee System, the WFTO Guarantee System, to take into account the need to do more about working with people to mitigate the effects of climate change. Is it all the greed, disillusion, distrust and misery in the world that has encouraged mayors of towns like mine, Oxford in England, and cities in many countries to sign the Fair Trade Beyond 2015 Declaration, with its aim to create a just, equitable and sustainable world in which every person can realise their rights, fulfil their potential and live free from poverty? I think it may be. We have to hope that we really can make this world a better place. We have to have a vision of what we believe the world can become. And we have that in the declaration we will be presenting to the UN General Assembly this coming September. But in this world where trust is at such a premium and so many people feel cheated and deceived, how do people know that they can trust fair trade? How do we know that companies are not just passing themselves off as fair trade because they know that this appeals to consumers? The world demands evidence that fair trade does meet certain standards. Fair Trade International, FLO to most of us, has done much, but millions of small producers are excluded from their scheme because of its agricultural commodity product focus. Now we have the WFTO Guarantee System, which will provide the evidence that fair trade organisations, wherever they are in the world, wherever they are in the supply chain, whatever they produce, meet the requirements of the fair trade standard, The label that WFTO is about to introduce will provide the guarantee that the evidence exists, is properly documented and regularly audited. And we'll be spending a lot of time at this conference looking at how the system works in order to reassure you that the system can work for you. And here I want to thank the working group members who've been working so very hard over many months, indeed several years, to create the new system, and the 10 fair trade organisations, 6 or 7 of whom are in this room, who've been part of the pilot project testing the new system these past 4 to 5 months. It has felt like a race. Thank you all. And if you'd like to learn more about those pilots, here's a little advertisement. Do come to our workshop from 2:30 to 4 o'clock on Tuesday. The next generation fair trade won't achieve all that it might unless more is done about gender equality. We assume that fair trade leads to a better quality of life for everyone involved, women and men. And while there are some wonderful examples of this happening, unfortunately it is often not the case. Evidence from research suggests that women are still limited in their ability to access resources, that their work continues to be undervalued, underpaid and unrecognised, and they remain underrepresented in the governance structures of their organisations. The Gender Working Group of WFTO has reviewed Fair Trade Principle 6 to make it more explicit that it aims to pursue gender equality and women's economic empowerment. We've also drafted a strategy for greater representation of women in the governance of fair trade organisations and the whole of the WFTO. And if you want to learn more, come to our workshop tomorrow, Monday, from 10 to 11. So for me, next generation fair trade is all about sustainability and gender justice, as Catalina has just said, about food security for producers. It's about working together, sharing our learning, challenging and changing business behaviour, and about cooperation. A lot of this will happen at the level of the country networks. It's about bringing new, young people into our organisations. And I see plenty of bright young people at our business school in Oxford wanting to have careers with social impact. But my question is, are we mentoring them to take on leadership roles in our movement? These will be young people with new ideas and new ways of doing things. And all this will be backed up by the robust, tough requirements of the new WFTO guarantee system. For WFTO, this means new strategies, new ways to communicate using the very latest social media, higher standards of behaviour. And for members, I think in future we will see much more South-South trade, Rudy was referring to that earlier, and domestic market opportunities, as well as continuing export opportunities. The new label will help to open up the mainstream market everywhere, for everyone. And in this next generation fair trade shops and fair trade towns will continue to play a very important role, campaigning, selling, raising awareness about the values we're trying to promote, and telling the remarkable stories that lie behind every product. So enjoy the conference, everyone, and thank you for listening. And while I still have this post, I'm also writing the conference report. So while I have your attention, could those of you presenting workshops and things give me your papers so that I can summarise them for the report? You'll see me around, so just hand them in. Thank you all very much.